We've made it. WrestleMania 40. Everything has led to this. All the videos we've done here on the channel, hit subscribe if you haven't already. We've done dozens upon dozens of videos looking at all the different hints, everything with the Bloodline, The Rock's return, Roman Reigns and The Rock, and the power dynamic within the Bloodline, all the little details with Cody Rhodes potentially finishing the story, everything. It's all led to this. One final prediction for what is going to happen at WrestleMania 40 on night 2 when Cody Rhodes challenges Roman Reigns for the Undisputed Universal Championship for a second straight year. Will Cody Rhodes finish the story, or will this story continue and or end for good? If you watch all the things we've done leading up to this, you know we've pointed out the tiny little details, mostly when it comes to The Rock and Roman Reigns, and mentioning all the things about how we know at some point there is going to be a clear rift between The Rock and the rest of the Bloodline, and or The Rock and Solo Sikoa and Roman Reigns and Jimmy Uso and so forth. So we know there's a lot going on within the Bloodline. But Cody, of course, is still the center piece here. He is the focus of this story because it is his story when you really think about it. The Rock has inserted himself into everything, and that has made for some of the most compelling WWE television we've seen on a road to WrestleMania ever. And so we have a match here with everything at stake. Now, I will tell you quickly, and you guys know if you've watched the videos before, you know my thoughts on the Night 1 tag team match. I am fully 100% confident right now that The Rock and Roman Reigns are going to win the Night 1 match against Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins to make this Bloodline rules on night 2. I don't think there's any other way you can go here. I think that is the obvious choice. You don't introduce Bloodline rules unless you're giving the people Bloodline rules, which we saw what happened on Monday's edition of Raw. When you have a Bloodline rules match and all the different things that can unfold and all the different people that can get involved, I think you're going to get the same thing on Sunday night in Philadelphia at Lincoln Financial Field. You're going to get the same situation. It's not just going to be Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. Now, I know people will say we don't want anything to necessarily take away from this huge moment if Cody Rhodes does finish the story, and we'll make our prediction on that in a second. But I think there are plenty of ways you can do this where it does not take away from the actual finish of the match, whether that's Cody winning or Reigns winning. And so let's try to tie everything together that we've seen to this point. Now, we've mentioned before that there is more than one piece of evidence that The Rock is not exactly happy with Roman Reigns. He does not necessarily play on the same page as Roman Reigns. And we've seen all the different reasons. And again, I will just push you towards the videos we've done here on the channel to give you an idea of all of it. You can watch all of them before WrestleMania, get a great idea of what we mean by that. There have been too many little breadcrumbs they've dropped along the way that tell you that The Rock is probably going to turn on Roman Reigns at some point, whether that is this weekend or after. And The Rock is going to basically be the new either de facto leader of the Bloodline, or The Rock's going to have his own little setup there. And as I pointed out on Raw, there were plenty of signs to point towards Solo Sikoa now moving more and more towards the side of The Rock than perhaps the Tribal Chief. So there's a lot of things in play when it comes to those elements heading into this match, right? But we do know that if The Rock and Roman Reigns are successful on night 1, well, that probably means they're still going to be, connected together heading into night 2. I don't think you're going to have The Rock turn on Roman Reigns on night 1. That makes things very anticlimactic heading into the title match on night 2. But there are ways you can add that tension, as I've mentioned before, heading into the match, and you can add a few of those different things that happen throughout the course of that tag match that really raise your eyebrows a little bit, wondering if The Rock is going to cost Roman Reigns on night 2. But I think we've reached a point now where I don't know that it is going to be just as clear as that. There was a point where we thought that The Rock would be the person that cost Reigns the title. Maybe The Rock was working with Cody Rhodes. Remember, this was weeks and weeks ago. No longer the case. The Rock and Cody hate each other. They don't like each other. We know that for 100% certainty. The Rock is talking about Cody Rhodes' mama, and you don't talk about someone's mama. And Mama Rhodes may actually get the second biggest pop of the night, and I'll tell you who I think is going to get the first shortly. But I think that is going to be a situation where you're going to have Mama Rhodes whipping The Rock. You're going to have all sorts of stuff because it is Bloodline rules. The Rock will be out there for Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns. Solo Sikoa will be out there. Jimmy Uso probably going to be out there. So that leads us to how do we figure out this entire mess that we think we're going to see on night 2 with Bloodline rules? Well, the thing about Bloodline rules is it's not just confined to the Bloodline. Bloodline rules essentially means anything goes, right? Well, as always, that doesn't mean that the heels are the only ones who can get involved here. And so we cannot overlook the facts and we cannot overlook the obvious things that we've seen. And just going back and forth, looking at all the things we've looked at along the way, I still think there is one thing in particular that we just cannot ignore, and I think it is going to be the reason that we see, as I said, someone's going to get the biggest pop of the night. Now, there's going to be two things competing for that. It could be Cody once he finishes the story and defeat Roman Reigns, or it could be Mama Rhodes slapping the living hell out of The Rock with the belt. Those are great options. But I think the one that's actually going to outweigh all of them in terms of just the monumental pop, the likes of which we've never seen before, perhaps. I mean, we've heard this guy get a lot of loud pops, but this one could blow the roof off of that does not exist, the stadium. And so I just think here's where we're headed, guys. I'm just going to spell it out for you. When we saw this take place on Raw a couple weeks ago, as The Rock's doing the beatdown and all of this other stuff, and we see this perfectly lit production truck in the background, the perfect camera shot, the perfect setup with Steve Austin and John Cena just staring down The Rock and watching every little tiny thing that he's doing to Cody Rhodes. These two are watching from afar. And I don't, again, think that you do that unless you know what you're about to do. And Triple H, the master of the little Easter eggs, of the master of what is going on in the background, is just as important as what you're seeing right in front of your eyes. This is telling us everything we need to know about what is going to happen with Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns on night 2. And we talked about that in a previous video. And I'm going to just sort of repeat some of the same things here. I don't think you could have a better situation than knowing that WWE wants to make this the biggest WrestleMania main event of all time. And The Rock has said how many times, making this the biggest WrestleMania of all time, biggest WrestleMania main event of all time. I don't think he's just talking about the tag team match or was just talking about The Rock versus Roman Reigns as a possibility. I think that completely ties into what they're going to do here, because you will not have a more memorable WrestleMania main event in the history of the company than if you have all of these different guys involved, where you have Cody trying to finish the story against Roman Reigns, yet he has everything stacked against him with the bloodline, with everything. He knows that he is going into this with very little chance of winning after he loses on night 1 by getting pinned by The Rock. That's my prediction. If that happens, then you're now able to tie all of these different generations, all of these different elements into the biggest WrestleMania main event of all time. They love it. They love the tagline. Everything is there. And now it's a matter of how do you get there, right? How do you actually get to the finish? And how do you pull this off? Well, again, let's think about the bloodline. You've got The Rock, you've got Roman Reigns, you've got Solo Sikoa, you've got Jimmy Uso. So you've got 4 parties here. We know Cody's going to be paired off with Roman Reigns. We know that for certain, because they're facing each other in the match. And you know that there could be a situation where Jey Uso gets involved. Maybe he's the one that you have kind of sitting there waiting for Jimmy. And then you could play into that based off of their match previously, right? They're having a match this weekend. You can do something in there that leads to Jey coming out to help Cody. We already know that's part of, the way this thing could go. So you've got them paired off. Now we've got 2 other people that need a dance partner, right? And that is, you need The Rock and you need Solo Sikoa. And remember, Who Solo took out the last time we saw him on screen? John Cena. Now, look, we see him again on the truck. I mean, there's someone there. I don't know if you can see him as well as I can. But we know that Solo was the one that took out Cena many, many moons ago now. Cena coming back to stop Solo from doing the same thing he did at WrestleMania 39. Stopping Cody Rhodes from finishing the story. The interference plays a role. Cody doesn't finish the story. Cena gets Solo out of the mix. So now you're down to 3. Cody and Reigns are there, and there's only one guy left. It's The Rock. And The Rock now holds all this power in his hands. If Jimmy and Jay have fought off, Cena has fought off with Solo, and now The Rock knows he's the one that carries all the power here. He gets to make the decision. Who's going to win this match? And then what happens? The Rock hates Cody Rhodes so much. He may have his issues with Roman Reigns, but he hates Cody so much that he can't possibly let Cody win this championship. He said it many times. And he knows that he can still take the bloodline away from Roman Reigns, even if Reigns is still the champion. But he wants Cody to lose so bad that he will do anything, and now the bloodline has a 2-on-1 advantage over Cody. Everyone else has fought off. We've got chaos everywhere. And when that glass shatters, and Stone Cold Steve Austin comes out to one of the loudest pops you've ever heard in a professional wrestling ring, which would happen, even though it's a stadium, so it may not have the effect of an arena, but it's still going to be loud. I just don't think you could do this any better than to get The Rock out of there with none other than Steve Austin. Austin maybe delivers a stunner to The Rock, and then you're all alone. Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, and yes, there are going to be people say this may sound like an overbooked mess. But I think if you're going bloodline rules, you are going into it with the expectation that it is going to be an absolute glorious spectacle to where it's not just going to be one-on-one. And you can certainly have people say, listen, that's a problem because you want Cody to win this clean. Cody can still win this clean, but I think you have to think of the psychology here of just because people are coming out to even the score for Cody doesn't mean that Cody's not winning clean, because he has everyone against him, right? It's a 4-on-1 basically. If it's bloodline rules, it's 4-on-1. It's The Rock, Roman, Solo, Jimmy, and it's Cody. So all they're doing is evening the odds here. They don't have to come in and be the one that actually, picks Cody up and puts him on Roman and he pins him 1, 2, 3. None of that has to happen. All they have to do is get rid of all the distractions to bring it right back to the center, which is Cody versus Reigns. And then you can go into your final sequence where you have Cody hitting whatever he wants to hit. Maybe you think Reigns is about to do it, but Cody kicks out, right? It's a near fall. Cody kicks out at 2 3/4. And then finally, Cody is able to get the advantage. Everyone else is out of the way. There's 2 people left in the ring. No one else in sight. Maybe these guys fight off to wherever, right? Or maybe they're around ringside. Who knows? But I know you don't really want to divert the attention from the big moment, but there are, again, ways to do that where guys can fight off into the crowd. They can fight off to the back, whatever you want to do. But it leaves Cody and Reigns as the only 2 in the ring. And Cody finally finishes the story. Did he have a little help? Sure he did. But so did Roman Reigns. And it is Cody, after The Rock did everything he possibly could to put Roman in a situation to succeed and to retain his championship. Roman could not get it done. Rock comes out of this pissed off at Roman. Cody comes out of this as your new champion. You come out with all the questions surrounding what's next for Roman, what's next for the bloodline, what's next for Cody, what's next for The Rock and Cody. You build all the anticipation now coming out of WrestleMania. Everything's not finished as soon as WrestleMania 40 goes off the air, and I think that's what you want to achieve on Sunday, is that you're giving the people what they want, but you're also giving people so many things coming out of it that they're going to be able to latch onto on the road to SummerSlam, on the road to WrestleMania 41. Now, I will admit, I don't know exactly how that they're going to be able to do the whole Rock and Reigns thing. That is the most unpredictable element of this to me, is that are you going to make it 100% clear that The Rock has turned on Roman Reigns by the time that match is over on night 2? I can't figure that part out just yet, because if this is the scenario we're going with, and they've given us all these hints, because once again, they're not doing this unless they have a reason for it, because they know that all the things they've done along the way, all the little tiny details we've done numerous videos on now, they know we're feeding into that stuff. Maybe it's a huge misdirection. Maybe it's a bunch of nothing. But when you've built the anticipation this way, and this is a theme in Triple H's booking, I don't think you can put this truck right there in the background with Steve Austin and John Cena unless you know that everyone is going to read into it and everyone is now going to make that expectation going into WrestleMania 40 to where if you don't get these two guys somehow involved in this Avengers style, like everyone else is kind of, proposing here, then I think it's a big mistake. But I don't feel like they're going to do that because they know this is the biggest show of the year. They are trying to make this, as I said, the biggest WrestleMania main event of all time, the biggest WrestleMania of all time. They want all of that. And I just know for Triple H, someone who is motivated by this possibility to be able to put on the greatest WrestleMania main event ever, to have the one that people are talking about for years and years to come, something you cannot forget. This is how you do it. You put all of these elements into play. You bring all the ghosts out of the closet here for Solo, for The Rock. That's how you get there. And if you have these guys, Stone Cold Steve Austin, John Cena at your disposal, there are ways to get them involved in this without overshadowing what Cody is ultimately going to do. And that is my official prediction. Cody Rhodes finishes the story against Roman Reigns, WrestleMania 40, Night 2. I don't think you have any other choice. You have to do it. This is the time. If you thought last year was the time, this year has taken it to another level. And I think they have put everything right there in front of you to tell you that this is a great possibility that Cody will finish the story. But it's really a matter of how do they get there? And like I said, this is my prediction for how they get there. There are so many ways that they can get to this, and they have made this very unpredictable in terms of how each person plays into this finish. And I think that is what is most fascinating to me. By no means do I think I'm going to get this right, just for the record. But I think when you think about all the elements that they've introduced and all the little personal feuds that would tie in with all 8 of these guys. So remember, Cody, Austin, Cena, Jay, Reigns, Rock, Solo, Jimmy. You think about all the intertwining stuff between those guys. And again, they all have their dance partner. They all have the person they can pair off with if you want to do this big, dramatic, cinematic finish. Everyone always says, this is cinema, right? This could be cinema if they do it this way. And you have that lasting visual of Cody being crowned basically the next star of the generation, right? Remember, something to keep in mind here too. Couple things I'll drop here. John Cena did tease Steve Austin on a recent Instagram appearance about an hour ago as I'm recording this. So Cena's teasing Austin for WrestleMania. Something else, Cody Rhodes has trademarked the Renaissance era. Now, he's used that in some interviews, but he did trademark that also as recently as me recording this. So there are a couple more things, and I think if you have that crowning moment where Cody Rhodes is standing there, and look, Dustin Rhodes, people have talked about Dustin. Could Dustin be involved here somewhere? We know Mama Rhodes is going to be involved. Could Dustin be involved? I have no idea. I have no idea what they're going to do with that. So maybe Dustin's someone else, but I don't think he's going to be in the ring, just given the contractual obligations elsewhere. He may be there, but I don't think he's going to be out in the ring playing a role in this match. But if you have the visual where at the end of the night, the new crowning babyface of this generation, Cody Rhodes, is there, Steve Austin's there, John Cena's there. Think about all the things that you tie together and the legacy that now you're building for Cody Rhodes as the person who is going to now carry the torch for WWE in this new era, in the Renaissance era, if that's what we're referring to it as. I don't think you could do it any better than that. to be able to do all of this. And again, there will be some criticism saying it should have just been Cody by himself. It should have just been Cody clean, 100%, no one getting involved. I just think we have to move beyond that at this point, because I think it's all about how you execute it. It's not just about needing it to be one-on-one, no one else involved. If you're getting Bloodline rules, you go in knowing that's not going to be the case. You accept the stipulation of the match, and you accept that, hey, I'd be fine with a dramatic Stone Cold Steve Austin and John Cena appearance to thwart off The Rock and Solo versus just a clean win and not getting those two guys at WrestleMania. It's going to be the biggest WrestleMania main event of all time. And I don't say that lightly, because I know how many great WrestleMania main events there have been throughout the years. I think this is going to be one of the most memorable ones ever. And bravo to WWE if that's the case. And on the flip side, if Roman Reigns retains the title and we are sitting here in the same spot we were at last year at this time, good luck to anyone out there who can try to maybe defend what they're going to do. And if they decide to go that way, they better make it really good, because otherwise I think you have stacked the deck against Cody Rhodes, and this is going to be a grand finale at WrestleMania 40 on Sunday. So there you go. There are my thoughts on the WrestleMania 40 Night 2 main events and how we could see things unfold. Let me know your predictions. Give me the winner. Give me your finishing sequence. How does this thing happen? What do you want to see happen? This is so much fun, and enjoy it, because this is going to be to see how this thing plays out on Sunday night. But I appreciate you guys watching. Like I said, we started this channel basically a couple months ago on the road to WrestleMania 40, and we've done a lot of videos looking at all these little things, as we mentioned earlier, and it's so awesome to see all your feedback and all the excitement now and the unpredictability that's in the air heading into WrestleMania 40. So I really appreciate you guys. We are thinking about doing some live stuff right after Night 1 and Night 2 WrestleMania, so I hope you guys will join. We'll put up the video on that. You can set your notifications and everything for that. Should be a fun discussion, and we'll see what happens. Give me your predictions. Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns, WrestleMania 40, Night 2.